So today I woke up feeling some type of way, thinking about what was the purpose of my last encounter with uh, my last relationship that I was in, not the big one. Keep saying, but that's my way of the separation factor, the comparison, if you will, is because I know this channel started out one way, but I'm not talking about the shit that started this channel. I'm talking about my encounter with, excuse me, experiencing a relationship years after my last, and the purpose, evidently and obviously, was for me to learn a lesson, right? And I went into that shit saying to myself, well, baby, let me tell you, this is me to myself, baby, let me tell you that one motherfucking monkey don't stop no show. Is that last situation is fucking over. You done did the work to heal and forgive yourself. You're able to move forward, so ain't nothing wrong with moving forward. And that's just what the fuck we gonna do. And I move forward, and um, thank goodness, right, that time did not play a factor in a sense that um, we were dating and decided to make it a relationship within a 7 month period. So it's like it was not enough time from my perspective. It wasn't enough time to for us to feel an obligation to stay together. Like 7 months, okay, because this is the period that I'm still learning. He should still be learning and trying to understand, where we are and where we could go and what is it that we want to do. But baby, the lessons I've learned with this individual, I've learned early, and I'm thankful that I did learn early, right? And one of the lessons, let me show you that I learned is that, oh man, excuse me, my body's still a little tired. One of the lessons that I learned is that, well, see, I don't know, and I'm not saying I don't know about the lesson, but let me just say, put it in this way. I'm not sure if maybe I still may need to do more work on myself. But self work is you're always a work in progress, right? Or if I am beginning to come to terms with perhaps a relationship isn't for me. Now, I am a Virgo. Virgos are lovers. You know what I'm saying? And let me just speak for myself that I love myself. I love the idea of love and being in love. And my hopes was to one day be able to enter into a loving, healthy relationship with a black man, and that love will be able to progress into a marriage of sorts. So maybe it may not be a legal marriage on paper, but maybe a spiritual marriage. Like it'll just evolve into something wonderful. Like I want Ted to one day be the example for all black women to say, you know what, baby, keep believing in love, um, keep fighting for love, and it starts at home, meaning it starts with yourself, right? And you'll be able to, get the love of your life, and you'll be able to live in the bliss of love, even though it's going to take work. Like, work towards any type of relationship, even a relationship with yourself, takes work. I think that's realistic, right? But And I can't speak for all men because I have not dated all men. But I could just speak from my experiences thus far. That's like, it's difficult for me to compromise any parts of who I am to be with somebody because compromising to me is synonymous with settling, right? And I see that that is difficult for me. It is difficult for me to have someone outside of me, a person outside of me, try to govern me and my thoughts and tell me who I am and dictate to me how I should live and the type of person that I should be and what I should be doing. And um, it's difficult to me in the forms of communication, right? At the level of communication, because I feel like um, I honestly feel like we all have different paths, whatever those fucking paths may be. And once you figure out what your path is, there is or should be a safe space created for you to be able to express that to your significant other. And then your significant other communicates with you a configuration of support in order to get you where you need to go. And I mean that goes both ways. For men, and I'm talking about this is the only experience I could speak of. I'm quite sure there are women out there that are the way that I'm describing my last experience, but I cannot identify with those type of women because I'm not that type of woman, and I don't seek relationships, romantic relationships with women, right? But it's just, and I'm saying this in the form of just still learning me and where I am at different phases and stages of my life, that I don't have no type of tolerance or patience for a manipulator. I don't have no tolerance or patience for someone that is still in the process of getting to know me to tell me not only how I should be living, but then it becomes problematic if I am not um, doing or saying what they think I should be doing or saying what my response is to their behaviors towards me, their actions towards me, what they say towards me, like my response to that, is problematic. It just appears, right? It appears, right? When I do a synopsis and when I look back at in retrospect about some things, it just appears to be that, there's an issue with me because I perhaps am either too strong headed, right? Too spearheaded. Um, I am showing traits of masculinity. Um, I am too challenging to this individual, right? And first of all, I'm saying to myself, with the fucking time that we've been dating, well, it probably could have been 8 months now, but I'm sitting here like, so for the fucking time we've been dating, this is just a short period of time for you to be trying to come at me motherfucking crazy and sideways. That was my first thought. But then my second thought, right, was that But you know what? Be thankful for this. Be thankful that all of this is being revealed to you now, because here's another lesson that you get to learn. You don't have to put in a whole bunch of motherfucking time. And you don't have to make changes within to contour yourself to the way someone else feels that you should be for them. How it goes is we get to see how each other give it up for each other. I get to see how you really fuck with me. You get to see how I really fuck with you. And if it's not conducive to either what we're used to or what we really want for one another, this is the time now to pull out. And I'm waving my white flag because I don't want no beef with nobody. I just realized that that situation isn't for me. It isn't for me because for a very, 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 very long time, right? I realize now in researching myself and finding out who I am now and where I came from, checking myself and shit and um continuing to grow and learning some shit. And when you're healing you gotta go back and check some shit and educate yourself on some shit. But I realized for a very, very, very long time I've been in survival mode. Like I really didn't even think that was a reality for me when I first started this healing process, because my what catapulted me into the healing process and the self journey, what catapulted me into that, as y'all know, is the breakup that I had with the father of my children. That's the shit that catapulted me into that, right? And up until we got together, I always felt that I was raised properly. Um, I really didn't have no deep seated family issues. The issues that were in my family was probably like a norm. Don't mean it was right, but I've grown to say, okay, this is how it was. And when I hear other people's stories, I realize I wasn't, the only one that experienced this type of thing that happens in a family or in my family. And so, I deal with it. I forgave, or whatever it is that I had to do to overcome whatever I felt may have played a role of stagnation of growth in my life. So I really didn't feel like I had like this, because you do hear other people's stories, and I'm like, damn, okay, I didn't go through that. I didn't have that experience. This is great. This is good. That means that my upbringing was fine. It was normal. It was, and then I came to a point where I said to myself, okay, to what motherfucking standard am I holding and making these determinations of what's normal and what's not normal in the life of a young black woman, a black girl? So this shit get deep as oniony. You're peeling layers and shit. Shit get deep and everything. And so fast forward to right now. My experiences right now is that who I am right now today is not the kind of woman that can be submissive without a safe space, right? And so peeling those layers back, and I'm going into survival, realizing that um I actually have been living in survival mode ever since I became a parent. I became a parent at the age of 18. I am now 48. That's 30 years ago. So for 30 years, I've been living in survival. I realize, right? And to, for me, because I keep fucking speaking in third term, so for me to entertain any type of romantic relationships, my significant other needs to understand that for me to change that takes a lot of fucking patience and a lot of healthy masculinity. Meaning, if the person that was created out of survival brought me to where I am today and it was 30 years ago, how fucking long you think it's going to take to be able to change that? Second of all, I'm saying it take a lot of masculinity, healthy masculinity, because there needs to be understanding, there needs to be empathy, there needs to be some breaking down in order to rebuild. And to do that, there has to be an environment that is set up for me to do that safely, knowing that I will ultimately be fine. My children, my family will ultimately be fine. That I won't ever experience a sense of betrayal. And that is very, very difficult to prove to someone outside of yourself, at least to me. Because, see, a lot, not all, but there's been plenty of examples I've had in my life of betrayal from people that say that they love me. And I'm not just talking about romantically, I'm talking about even friendship wise, even fucking homegirls at the time that'll look you in your face and be like, I love you, or that's my bitch, that's my ride, or whatever the fuck we was calling each other at the time. At some point or another, betrayed the love and trust that I had for them, right? Which severed the friendship. And I just think that it is a lot. It is a lot of responsibility for someone outside of me to make that type of promise to me, where I will be able to feel safe enough to not just allow them to leave, but kind of like take over my life in a sense, giving me the proper space to be and time to be able to heal and to be able to evolve and flourish even more in my femininity. Do I want that for myself? Absolutely. I would absolutely love that, right? To be able to just bask ultimately in my femininity, right? Um, but I'm starting to realize that that is something that I may have to give to myself. So right now, I'm trying to configure how I can give it to myself, because my last encounter with a relationship, um, because he was really, really, really wanting to lead, but it became problematic when I would not submit, just for lack of better words. I wouldn't show signs, and I wouldn't um let me just leave it there. I wouldn't show signs of bending enough. I would not give permission, so to speak, to um give him what he felt he needed in order to lead, which again ultimately led to me submitting. And the submission to me felt very toxic because it felt forced, and I didn't feel safe enough to be able to submit. Like there wasn't a safe space created for me to be able to submit. And then um insecurities play a role, right? Insecurities play a role because again, my past experiences have shown me that it's the ones closest to me at that time in my life who showed me betrayal. So yeah, I have trust issues, right? And even though I don't have issues with this particular person, I always question myself, can I trust them ever to allow me to be able to submit, right? Because motherfucking people got this whole thing with them and they feel like, just based off of gender alone, women should submit. And that's not how that shit go. And submission isn't a reward for fucking good behavior either. Submission is 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% already indebted in a woman that will be released naturally, naturally to a man that she feels safe being around. So I'm, you know, watching and I'm fucking listening, and the fucking math ain't mathing. It ain't motherfucking adding up. It's making me feel some type of way. But there's another side to me that's saying, that's in verbal judo with um the divine part of me, because the divine part of me is telling me to fall back, but the other part of me is like, this is a black man and there's so much wrong in our culture, and our culture is in a difficult space right now, and black men have it hard and black women have it hard, and it'll just be better for both of you, if you continue to compromise and continue to make it work. But fastly, I'm seeing I'm the only one fucking compromising. And it started to feel one sided. And I'm just not going to fucking do that again. So I was shown the level of tolerance that I had, the level of patience that I have. I was shown once again that when that divine part of me start speaking, when I get intuitive knowledge about a situation, I am to listen. Because when you don't listen, when the child is disobedient, spare the rod, spoil the child. You ain't got to get me no more motherfucking lashes. I done learned my lashes 20 some odd years ago with that last motherfucking man. That motherfucking ass whooping that I went through with that motherfucking heartbreak taught me more when it comes to dealing with any one romantically or anyone that I have a romantic interest in. I look for different things. I see for different things. I listen for different things. And I pay attention. Not just to those red motherfucking flags. Because, woof, they was a flagging. You know how they say life be life, and the fucking flags was a flagging. Not just that, though. But the intuitive knowledge that I was getting when something wasn't right. And there were 3 major encounters that I had with this particular person, where I would keep convincing myself to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yes, within this 7 to 8 month period. Yes. And like I said in my last video, third time was a charm for me. Um, and here I am, single, not at all motherfucking mad, feeling good. Cause one, let me tell you something about being motherfucking single, at least for me, right? Not only is it a time to check in with myself and reevaluate and self evaluate, because whatever role I played in the severance of this particular relationship, um, it gives me time to take responsibility, um, work on it, and make the necessary adjustments if any adjustments have to be made. But one of the things that don't bother me all about being single is because it's liberating to me. And um I'm not trying to celebrate um I'm not trying to celebrate being single to a degree that, it may be threatening for you. I'm trying to get you to understand that being fucking single is not the fucking worst thing in the world. At least for me. Because here's a part of being single that I really fucking like when I say it's liberating, when I say it's fucking freeing. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I don't have to check in with anybody except me. So I get to go on these beautiful little interesting um, what I call self help and self care trips, right? And because my time is very limited and I don't have a lot of time, I make the absolute fucking best of it. So it's usually a weekend, not literally a weekend like Friday to Sunday, although it can be, but um it could be Tuesday to Thursday. It can be an overnight thing. Just depends on where I want to go. Sometimes my girlfriends are involved, sometimes they're not. I don't have to check in with anyone about fucking purchasing anything, doing anything, saying, because when you're with a significant other, when you're with a other, right, there is a lot of things you have to consider, from everything from their emotions, how you speak, where you go, when you go, what time you go, when you're getting back, how you dress, when you just, it just can become a lot of responsibility, right? And with so much going on in my life, having a lot of responsibility just as one motherfucking individual alone, having so much on my plate by myself, being in a relationship right now is giving burdensome type of vibes. And I wish it wasn't like that, but it just feels like it's just so much, maybe even too much right now. Like, whenever, whenever there is um, another time for me to engage in a relationship, I want it to be refreshing. I want it to be healthy, and I want it to be freeing. Like I want to be, and And I'm cutting myself off like that because I really was giving this particular person what I had wanted in return. You know how they say treat people how you want to be treated, right? So I was the example. And it's not even something that um I was like trying to throw in their face, and it wasn't nothing that I was trying to make them do. It was just me being me. This is how I love, baby. This is how I love. You ain't got to stress, you ain't got to worry. Everything is good over here. I'm not interested in, you know, other people are fucking around with other people, but I am interested in having a healthy, progressive relationship with you. And it just did not go that motherfucking way, and it's okay, right? It's okay. And I'm not upset at him. I'm not upset at myself. One of the main things that really allowed me not to be upset is because there wasn't an overwhelming amount of time of me constantly pouring and trying to get reciprocity. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that. And so the focus goes back on me, and I'm about to go into the serenity room. I'm going to listen to, I think I want to listen to some Nina Simone. Now, um, yeah, I want to listen to some Nina Simone. You know, and I'm just thinking of when we would get into these arguments, some of the things that he would say wasn't only sounding bugged out to me. I realized after the fact had nothing to fucking do with me. Um, I think maybe sometimes something I may have said may have triggered him, but ultimately didn't have any fucking thing to do with me. I really, really, really want to give an example, like a real life example, a real time of what we argued about, but I won't do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Here's what I'll use as an example. When Mary J, in the early stages, Mary J. Blige, I'm referring to, in the early stages of her divorce, she was saying that I'm at a point in my life right now where um, I'm realizing that I'm realizing how to give all the love that I wanted from my ex, how to give it to myself. And in realizing how to give it to myself and I'm capable of giving it to myself, it helps me see that I really don't even have time for men right now because they're very draining. Men can be very draining because there's also a lot of emotional labor that goes into having a relationship. And baby, and the reason why I can remember that shit verbatim is because it's certain things that people say in your life, and certain things that people say to you, and maybe they may not be saying it to you, but it's certain things that people may say, or maybe lessons that they learn, that when they summarize it and just put it in the atmosphere and you catch it, it's just certain shit that stand out, and certain things that but sayings that become a milestone in your life because the summary of it is just so effective and so pivotal of where you are at that time in your life. And not for nothing, that's exactly how I feel right now. Having a romantic relationship for me right now, it is fucking draining. It's a lot of emotional labor. And I don't want to fucking do that. Yo, we got into a fucking argument one time. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but our argument escalated because I said to myself, sometimes because I think so much and I overthink so much. Just sometimes when I'm with you, I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to fucking think. I just want to enjoy the moment. I just want to watch a movie, or if you're talking, just listen and give minimal feedback because I'm taking in what you're saying, but I just don't want to think about anything too hard, And, he's like, well, I'm fucking having a conversation with you, and you fucking not even fucking thinking, like, bitch, what's wrong with you type of shit. And I'm just like, wow, that's the fucking problem. Because in that conversation, he's stating a statistical fact. And in stating a statistical fact, he then proceeds to tell me things about myself because I wasn't aware of the same fact that he was. So he's like, no, you don't do this. You're not this type of person. You don't, no, you don't, because you wasn't aware of what I'm telling you. And my rebuttal was, well, it wasn't that I wasn't aware. I was aware. It's just I couldn't remember it. But I'm just sitting here kind of indulging in you a little bit, and I don't want to think about facts, and I don't even feel like thinking right now at this time to be able to even think to that time and say, you know what, this fact and that. Like, I don't want to have a debate about facts or stats or anything. I just want to listen. And it ended up being a fucking problem because I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sitting here sipping and listening and calling myself indulging you, and right now, you just blowing my whole motherfucking high. You were just like, damn, I can't even just enjoy this motherfucking moment right now. Because you're telling me who I am. You're telling me about myself, what I like and what I don't like, because you're basically because I did not respond the way you felt I should responded about a fact. And it escalated so much to a motherfucking point that he wanted to leave. And on the drive to on the way that him leaving, because now I have to drive him, or him leaving, he's bringing up other situations and instances where he says that I made him feel small, that I made him feel less than a man. And I found that to be so fucking weird, because to me that you're talking about security, and you're talking about self-esteem, and you're talking about a relationship with someone that you care about. So I personally find it odd, even to a degree of offense, but I'm not saying anything because at this point he's venting, and I'm just saying it's nothing for me to say at this fucking point. Anyway, regardless, but I don't ever, ever, ever want to be the type of woman that ever makes my significant other feel less than, because that is not who I am as a person. And I thought to myself, well, you're going off on me, telling me who I am because of a fact that you stated that I wasn't able to state before you because you asked me a question about it. He asked me a question about it, and I didn't state a correct fact. And he corrected me with the fact, and it escalated from there. And I find myself in the car now taking him to a destination because he wanted to leave, and he brought up all of these different scenarios in which I made him feel less than. And it was weird to me because I was like, well, damn, we could have, this is me now saying something to myself, not to him, because to say something to him made him even more angry. So I just stopped fucking talking. But, you know, I'm like, well, damn, we could have nipped that shit in the bud and spoke about it right there. But how could we nip it in the bud and speak about it right there if this is something that you was feeling internally? Because I don't understand how somebody outside of you could make you feel less than. And if they do, that means that you're giving them too much motherfucking power. And it also means that you have some unhealed wounds that you need to work on and motherfucking heal. Right? This is what I'm saying to me, because nobody outside of me can make me feel away. This is why I didn't have a response when he said, there was a time when you said this, and when you said it, it made me feel less than a man. I'm like, what? How the fuck can I make you feel less than a man? And so if this is something that he continues to feel, of course I don't want to bear the brunt of responsibility for that. I don't want to be in a relationship where my man feels that way. And furthermore, um, I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand. Um, and I couldn't understand it because that's just not who I am. And so it started making me be like, okay, um, either he's confusing me with someone else, or maybe there's actually some legitimacy in what he's feeling. I don't want to downplay it. And if it is, then I really don't think that this is a situation that we should keep trying to visit and be in. Because not only um was this something that you held in and only revealing it now in the time of an argument, right? But that's just not how I want my significant other to ever think about me or feel about me, because I'm just not the type of person. And in saying what I said and communicating with him about that situation is just like, it's just too much. It's just too much in a short period of time. But I'm thankful for the revelation. Like, I don't want to keep going on about it. I'm just thankful for the revelation because I want to be able to understand so that I can overstand whatever my flaws is at the time. But it also helps me to understand that, okay, because I am not perfect, okay. And there's some things I probably still need to work on. I'm not denying that at all, but maybe not now. Maybe later on down the road. Because I only want to be responsible for myself right now. I don't want to feel the brunt anymore of taking the responsibility of the way somebody else feel about how I do me, about how I love, how I converse, I just don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to keep explaining myself to motherfucking people that either they don't want to understand or I'm just tired of explaining myself to people. How about that? Let's just be real about this shit. Tired of explaining myself. Tired of explaining myself. Because if we in a motherfucking relationship, how can I say anything that make you feel less than a fucking man? Nigga, I'm not that type of motherfucking person. But you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Because I was totally unaware that's how you felt. I'm sorry that you felt that way. Because it was not ever my intent to make you feel that way in speaking reality and speaking what I felt was the truth at that time. If anything that I say is a truth and it makes you feel less than a man, I don't feel like that has anything to do with me, but I do apologize that you feel that way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step the fuck back. I'm going to remove myself from this relationship because it is going in the way of toxicity, and I don't want that for me. I don't want to be in anything fucking toxic. I don't. I just, right now, because my last situation before him was so motherfucking toxic, I just want to enjoy myself in the company of another adult male. Because I have my girlfriends, I'm able to get with them and, enjoy myself with my girls. And now I wanted to be able to enjoy myself with a significant other. But if it's going to be all this fucking chaos every fucking time because there's a problem with what I say or how I say it or when I say it or the fact that I can't meet you where you are at that time because I just don't even fucking feel like it. I don't even feel like it. I don't feel like having a debate with you right now. Yes, we're having a conversation. Yes, I'm listening, I'm responding, but I just want to see you do your man thing. And I'm just going to sit here and if situations like that is a motherfucking problem, baby, let's gracefully bow out. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So I don't want to take up any more of anybody's motherfucking time. I'm just saying that being single for me right now is just fucking fine. I have already booked me another fucking trip, a self-care trip for another weekend. Because it's my temporary escape from reality and just be able to totally 100% indulge within myself. It's pivotal at this time because I need tender loving care. I need attention. I need time for me. When I am in my other life, which is, when I'm a mom, when I'm a grandma, when I'm an employee, I have to have concern about everything and everyone else. My children, my grandchildren, my employer. I have to be fully present in those moments, right? Of whatever it is that I'm doing regarding them and involving them. But these self-care trips allow me time away from everything and everyone just to be alone and totally indulge with myself. And I love that for me. I love that for me. I could not find a level of escapism with my significant other. So I'm giving it to myself until I can get to the point where I can totally find a way to give myself femininity, totally step out and away from masculinity and survival mode. That's what type of time I'm on. I wish you well. And whatever part of the healing that you're in, I hope that you get there in a fucking hurry. Because there's a whole lot of levels to this shit. Peace and blessings. I'll get with y'all soon.